I didn't think I'd be coming back to Elden Ring anytime soon. I thought I'd be waiting for the DLC, which I thought would be coming out soon, but it may or may not. I could see there being DLC within like 1 to 3 weeks, maybe. Let's get to the patch notes and then figure out what to do from there. This is a pretty big deal. I did like do a complete scan of the notes beforehand. It's still in that like, is this the real life? Is this fantasy? I kind of okay. So like a lot of my speculation at one point, a few times, even like up to my most recent times playing Elden Ring, has been like one of their biggest outs is just to say fuck it. Have separate bounds for PvP and PvE. Dark Souls 2 is a good example of that, where they just have a global modifier on all damage. And I didn't totally like that because I was trying to figure out, if you had a global modifier, would it be pre or post defense and, you know, all that whole mess? And it's like, how would you target it in such a way to where the most problem elements would be nerfed the most? And I was thinking like, shit, should it be something like the higher level you are, the higher the damage modifier? Like how much more are you scaled down? You know what I mean? Like, so like player to player damage would be almost unscaled at low level, and then like once you get to like 60 or 70, it could get scaled down a lot or something like that. And then, you know, once you're 120 or whatever, you cap at, you know, maybe scaling PvP damage by half or whatever. And then like I'm still thinking in my head like, okay, well, how are we still gonna, like, there's still gonna be spikes one way or another, even if you do it post defense or something. It didn't occur to me FromSoft would do as much as they did from the like blur memory in my head of reading it earlier, because I scanned it. I didn't have too much time to read all of it. So let's go ahead and take a look. Features. Which is just, you know, separate scaling in PvP. And I'm curious what that actually means, because I don't think that means a global modifier anymore. Internally in the game, they have like a couple of different ways that scaling works. They've got the scaling paths, and they've also got the scaling like values per upgrade level. And it's like, shit, if they have a whole separate copy of all of that, then that's a big fucking deal. It also means that they've done something that I wouldn't have expected them to do at all, which is to literally make a whole complete duplicate of all the balance in the entirety of the game and have to make those adjustments. That's not trivial. What might be reasonable is to have like your core data be one central place, and have the PvP values have like modifiers, so that when you output, like basically have two output copies but one input copy, and then like a list of modifiers for PvP. These are the concerns that I've had with games that I've worked on. It's like, when you have to have massive deviations of the core number set, how do you handle that? Even if it's like between versions. So one of the games I worked on, you could watch replays from like any version of the game, and the game just had like a storage of all of the different versions of the game's core rule set, like for balance and stuff. And it's doable, but damn, like I wouldn't have thought FromSoft would do this, just because it's so much work for a feature that, like, in the past at least, they've given the impression that they have just not focused on it at all. But like this is like a commitment almost. This is almost indicating that PvP is a significant, impactful thing that they're paying attention to. Obviously, the majority of their player base is still single player only or co-op only or whatever. That's where the money is, and that's where their focus is going to be. But it's like, because Elden Ring sold, you know, 12, 13 million copies in the first month or so, it kind of pushes the idea like, oh, okay, in that case, there's enough people playing PvP, and that's their focus, to justify having like some small portion of their development dedicated to just figuring this out, which is really nice. They can do adjustments on a per, you know, PvP only basis, and then they make it very clear it will not affect single player and co-op. I get it. Like, the co-op people have always complained. All the single player and co-op people have been like, it sucks the PvP changes are affecting my single player experience. And like, while I think it's possible to have shared numbers that affect both, they can both try to figure out solutions that apply to both, but also not be bound to those having to have the same rules. So PvP specific. 7 attack power in PvP for all attacks against guarded foes, except for long range weapons. Now, when they say all attacks, I'd imagine this may not affect skills, although they say here, so maybe. Honestly, most skills don't do enough stamina impact anyways, so that's kind of fine. Poise damage in PvP for every weapon's normal attack, except for skills and long-range weapons. This, I know the counterpoint to this, so I'm not going to speak to this right away, because all balance is interdependent on the rest of the game. So, with a few exceptions, the power of Ashes of War in PvP has been lowered across the board. Super great. Because I don't believe I saw an exception for Moonveil, this is the Moonveil nerf, and I wonder how much, but Moonveil probably didn't need too much, depending on how things go. Power of falling incantations in PvP has been decreased, so basically all the easy to get dragon shit with low requirements. I get that people loved using these, but damn, these things are so little investment for what you get. And honestly, if I don't know what is going on with arcane scaling right now, but because these are all coming off the Dragon Communion seal anyways, having these nerfed means that a lot of low-level PvP and mid-level PvP is not going to be so messy anymore. And they're probably still going to be fine. General balance. Poise damage when using two-handed normal. Very nice. I feel like two-handing weapons wasn't super valuable. Colossal sword speed got increased. That's good. I think they've been going in this direction for a while now. I'm glad that they're pushing more because I don't think they quite got it in the last versions. Like I don't think they had it where they needed to be. But they reduced the crouching and rolling attacks for colossal swords. They basically have pointed the player in a more normal, attack direction, I guess, or a move set choice or whatever. It's not just poke wars from these weapons. So other colossal weapons are probably like axes and hammers, also sped up. Recovery times for most of their attacks, except for obviously jump attacks, dueled, and while riding, so less punishable. I mean, you could speed these things up a lot, and they still wouldn't be overpowered. The only thing that was extremely strong and kind of busted was the crouching and rolling, which are effectively the same thing. I don't remember them using a different animation for those. Increased poise damage of hammers, great hammers, and some colossal weapons. Super needed. Guard penetration for the following weapons. So basically every guard penetrating weapon that I can think of got a nice buff there, and that's very nice because it certainly is going to help against great shields and stuff. Plus, those weapons weren't even super amazing without like some manner of like shield penetration or something. Poise rating of some attacks has been increased with falling weapons. So interestingly enough, they say poise damage on up here. They say poise rating on the other ones. So what I think is happening is I think the poise, basically the hyper armor is increased now. The additional poise in the middle of an attack then. Yeah, that's what it seems like. Poise of all armor has been increased. This is the other half of the bit from above. Increase the poise damage in PvP for every weapon's normal attack except for skills and long-range weapons. And then on the other hands, they go, with some exceptions, poise of all armor has been increased. So you can see what they're doing, right? It seems like what they're doing is saying everything except for skills and spells now does more poise damage, which is a big deal. That basically means that skills now are like not so, even just for the poise, skills are not so dominant anymore, and you're more likely going to try to use regular attacks again. And spells obviously will stand out a bit more as well in that regard. Along with the damage change, this is basically saying they're recognizing that skills are just too strong, and we'll see how they are now that they've been patched. Effects of the Great Shield Talisman and Hammer Talisman have been increased. So one obviously I believe is when you're guarding, and the hammer one I think is when you're hitting somebody's guard. Some effects of the spells Scholar Shield, the Barricade Shield skill, and the Shield Grease item have been adjusted as follows. The effects on shields with low guard boost have been adjusted upwards. The effect on shields with high guard boost have been adjusted downwards. So basically you can bring some of the strongest situations with the biggest shields, which is very nice. Guard strength of the Fingerprint shield has been decreased. So yeah, now there will be less scenarios where people will be just like mega tanking with great shields, and if you want to get some more out of your shield, then you're using stuff like Scholar Shield, and even Barricade Shield, which I felt like were somewhat lacking. So, and Shield Grease, obviously. Shield Grease gets super ignored. Decrease status build-up done by dual-wielded weapons. Incredibly important. This is Scavenger, Curse Swords, Cross Naginata, Dual Vikes. I'd imagine they just removed, they significantly nerfed the buff MV or something. At some point, I'm looking forward to seeing what the data mine numbers are going to be, because if the data mine's numbers have massively lowered values, I'm going to be so happy, because I was basically saying these numbers are way too fucking high. So these are just magic. So Pebble got buffed, Shard Spiral got buffed. Shard Spiral was already really good, so I'm curious to see how that goes post buff. I mean, I know people didn't really use it that much. It wasn't great against smaller targets, but it was pretty great against bigger targets. Pebble probably, I don't know. My thought, and I was talking about this earlier, I thought maybe the change for Pebble is to make it to where it's more valuable on like a demi-human queen staff build. I think all bets are off for what the DLC is going to bring at this point. If they're making changes like this, then they're going to go into neglected territory. Lightning Spear and Flame Sling both got better charge, okay. Rejection, Wrath, and Black Flame. Stamina attack power against guarded enemies. Rejection is going to be an interesting one, because that doesn't get a lot of use, but if people keep it around as like a pocket guard break, then it can be very worth it, even with low stats. I mean, Wrath of Gold and Black Flame, whatever. I don't know how much people want to block with it, but if they're using the Fingerprint Shield, then maybe. Crystal Burst. Very, very nice. I always said this was like too mediocre for what it is. And Triple Rings of Light was good. It wasn't amazing, but bringing it up is nice. I doubt it'll be overpowered. It'll just be much more useful now. Crystal Burst I really want to see, though. I'm trying to remember which one's which at this point, because I've already forgotten. The one I was calling Crystal Shard. Oh, no. They buffed the other one. The one that I wanted to be buffed. They buffed the one that costs 14 FP. The one that the Demi-Human Queen boss uses. I want to see how good this is now, because it was like on the edge. If you had really, really high int, it potentially could be really, really good. It just was like too slow. I still wish it did more damage, but maybe the charge version will be faster too. I have no idea what you're going to get out of Law of Causality lasting longer. It just never, like, I couldn't justify it ever. Just the damage is too low, but who knows. Assassin's Approach, sure. I don't have no comment, I guess, almost. It's like almost nobody really uses it, but I could see it having some value. Ice Crag, more Frostbite. Considering how slow Ice Crag is, that's, I would say either speed it up, give it longer range, or just, you know, something like that, so that's cool. Freezing Mist, I felt like it never was worth it, so super good. Frozen Armament, I don't think I see anybody using that, so that's good too. Poison Mist and Armament, more poison, okay. Okay, so a huge list of shit. Arc Phalanx, Carrion Phalanx, Great Blade Phalanx, Downpour, Loretta's Great Bow, Mastery, Full Moon, Dark Moon, Ambush Shard, Night Shard, Unseen Blade, Roiling Magma, Rykard's Rancor, Darkness, Eldest Stars. Like every spell that was like could be good, but it was just so wastefully expensive is now lower FP consumption. So I don't know how much this is going to be, but this is quite a laundry list of shit. I'm honestly, like, Arc was almost where it needed to be anyways. Like I wouldn't have asked for it. Like, if I was asked, like, okay, how should we change things, I probably wouldn't have even brought up Arc. Because Arc's kind of in a fine spot, but reducing the FP consumption is still kind of nice. Everything else, though, holy shit. This is all the stuff that was, like, just not quite there. And I'm curious what the difference are going to be between the phalanxes now. They were all just, like, kind of just slightly too much. You could drop them down, like, depending on which. You could drop some of them down by, like, 25-30% FP cost. Downpour could be great, but it was super situational. Great Bow and Mastery are like, they can be great, but they're not like daily drivers. They're more like, I want to catch something at a distance for like, oh, like I got the drop on a player who's not really paying attention, or I'm sniping shit out of the way in PvE, but it's like, they're just not that. They weren't especially great. Full Moon and Dark Moon were already on my radar of like, I want to try to make these work, but I just can't, like, they're so expensive. If they hit, they can be especially great. It's just like, damn, the cost is so much. Ambush, Night Shard. I always felt like both were just kind of overly expensive for being invisibility. Well, especially Ambush Shard is like, it's hard to justify. It just tracks so poorly. But now if you could throw it out willy-nilly, maybe it'll be a little bit better. I would hope they do something about the tracking though. Unseen Blade, I would never bother with. I don't know how this is how do you make this work for your character? Roiling Magma, I've been using a bit here and there, and I think the FP cost has just been the biggest downside to it. So that's good. Rykard's, I've been wanting to use more, so that's good. I can't remember which one was Darkness. This is the one that like breaks aggro. Yeah, cool, alright. Darkness is kind of expensive anyways. But we're going to see a lot of interesting, like, PvP and PvE changes now, just because a lot of stuff that wouldn't be super viable, not daily drivers, stuff you wouldn't bring with you, stuff that's hard to justify, becomes a lot more practical now. Elden Stars, in some situations, it's extremely difficult and obnoxious to deal with. In some situations, it's a total waste of FP. Lightning Strike, it'll be nice to see that have some more use, especially because you can't swap cast anymore. Lansax's Glaive, it's another one that was like on the edge. The damage is okay, it just was expensive. Death Lightning, that shit's scary. If they haven't changed the AR numbers in this thing, but they've reduced the FP cost, holy shit. Because Death Lightning is like 514 base AR. This is if it hits you one shot, it's just you're gambling every time you cast it. Giant's Flame was good. It was gimmicky because it could kill really quickly. It's expensive. Blood Flame Talons absolutely needed the buff. Unendurable Frenzy, it wasn't especially amazing, right? That's the one you can walk with, I think, right? Grail's Roar does a lot of damage. Has really high AR, like really high physical. It's just expensive, so reducing it, cool. Glintstone Stars, I did feel like it was too expensive, so that's good. And increased attack power as well. Magma Shot, I definitely felt it was basically like a worse version of Roiling Magma, so maybe now it has its own place. Blood Boon, I want Blood Boon to send I wanted to create a small area, like an arc in front of you with just little blood, fire spots, little burning puddles. But if it's cheap now and does more, then maybe it's fine. I definitely felt like you would never be able to get people to sit on it, though. That's kind of the big thing. So, like, the initial hit is all you really get. Aspect. Oh, so what are these all doing? Decreased FP consumption, increased stamina, attack power against guarded enemies. So, Tail, Horn, both great, both good buffs. Tail will probably see a lot more use. Horn, I've seen bits and pieces of. Using it to Guard Crush will be interesting. Ancient Dragon, Lightning Spear, FP consumption, increased attack power. Yeah. So these are all good. Flame Pull Upon them was a little bit too expensive, but it was still really good. So that plus the attack power, the stamina attack power will be great. Comet Shard, Comet. Oh, the increased attack power of Comet? Holy shit, okay. I thought it was just like FP consumption and nothing else. Oh my god, alright, so that's big. And carrying greatsword. Shit. I was wondering about that. As I was glancing this, they said something like, "Oh, we had buffed Moonblade or whatever," which is mentioned somewhere down there. So greatsword did get buffed, and like attack power against guarded enemies and FP consumption. Like greatsword was already like almost FP efficient, even compared to the best stuff. Like greatsword becomes a very solid choice. It's not just like a good choice, but if you have a lot of mind or whatever, but not a lot of int. It becomes a like very solid. It has a place. It feels distinct. I wonder where the number's going to be. But if they're pushing in that direction, it means that they have a place for it. They want it to be basically the mid-tier Moonblade. A chunk of it is the AR. The AR per hit is very high, even if it only has one hit because it doesn't have the projectile and it doesn't have the frost buildup. So that's interesting. Cannon needed to cost less. It was just a massive waste of FP. Even if it was good for hitting people who are hiding in Liurnia or whatever, all the AFK people. They increased the attack power and reduced the FP. I thought it was just the FP. And I was like, sure, okay. Big freaking buffs, though. Holy shit. This is why I wanted to take another look to properly read these patch notes, because this is really big. And I missed stuff when I did my initial glance. So the Rancor stuff has, the FP, obviously, Ancient Death Rancor was really inefficient. Rancor Call was okay. The lifespan longer, too. That's pretty legit. So you have more combo potential with these. And they're cheaper, which means that they're better for comboing into stuff. So Briars, both of them Briars. Lower FP consumption, increased blood loss on attack, and the cast speed. So this is, I think, I was thinking about this earlier. I was wondering, like, why would they not embrace all the swap casting stuff? And I think the reason is because they were planning a later patch to do this. I don't know how much faster they're going to be, but like maybe they're going to be fast enough to where you don't worry about you're not so concerned about being unable to swap cast. So Gavel got reduced FP and stamina, increased guard, stamina attack power against guard, and the power of the hammer portion of the attack. So if you hit directly, I guess, it probably hurts a lot more then. Shatter Earth, lower FP consumption, more poise damage, stamina attack power, increase certain portions of the spell's hitbox and shorten recovery time. So yeah, I felt like Shatter Earth and Gavel feel like they occupy a similar space. I feel like they're almost the same spell, so I'm curious how they're going to be distinct, but they needed buffs regardless. Rock Blaster was in the same position. Yeah, this cheaper, better. Starlight, I was referring to this a while ago. It just does not last long enough, and it's too expensive. So Stars of Ruin, lower FP consumption and stamina consumption, increased power when charged. So it's interesting. So they nerfed the tracking, and they went back and said, okay, this needs to do damage if it hits. So now it's like it's good in the spots where it's acceptable for it to be good. Founding Wind Stars, lower FP and stamina cost. Rain happens faster, and it's longer range. I don't know if that means a wider area or you can cast it further away. Both would be good. I would take either of those. Glint Blade, more poise damage, attack power, stamina, and stamina attack power. So a general buff in almost every regard to Glint Blade. And Glint Blade was still good. I think it's closer to the top stuff. Piercer was already kind of okay, but I'll take it. Reduce FP consumption, increased attack power, ends against guard, and less recovery. So I think Piercer is now like this will be a daily driver, I think. I think Piercer was already good enough to be paired with Slicer, and now I think people are going to start using it a lot more as stay the fuck away, I'm going to hit you with something strong, or I'm going to poke you in the back when you run away kind of thing. Moonblade, lower FP consumption, more against stamina attack power against guards, more frostbite as well. Moonblade was kind of overly expensive. That's good. I'm glad they didn't increase the damage. The damage is already kind of fine, especially because it has a projectile. And if you have a lot of ints. Obviously, if you don't have any ints, then you're going to use Greatsword instead. Fury, lower FP consumption, more attack power, faster casting, less recovery. I think they're solving all the problems with Gelmer's Fury. The direction of the attack and the law projectile is to make it easier to hit enemies located in front of the spell. Increase damage dealt by the first part of the spell. Oh shit. People can't just run through it as easily anymore. Zamor got a buff. I wasn't sure if this is a skill when I was looking at this earlier, but this is definitely the spell. So, yeah. So, increased attack power and frostbite and cast speed and recovery time is better. All the things I was complaining about are addressed. I keep saying fixed. I don't know what the numbers are going to look like, but they're pushed in the right direction regardless. Shattering Crystal. This is Crystal Shard. Reduce FP and stamina consumption, poise damage, stamina attack, increase attack power when charged, increase casting speed. So yeah, Shattering Crystal's much better. They've addressed the things I would have complained about. Crystal Release was shit. It's complete terrible shit. So what is it now? Lower FP consumption, more poise damage, stamina attack, faster cast speed, and less recovery. Attack range, that's a big one. That's a big deal. It was way too short. So you could be attacking somebody and still not be hit. Adjusted the poise increase timing during activation. Oh, were you supposed to have hyper armor with this and you just never got it? These ones I glimpsed at these two earlier, and these are great. I've been looking forward to using more Oracle Bubbles, and I'm glad they made them worth it. So Oracle Bubbles can be used while in motion, streamline the attack range, increase attack power when charged, extended the time it takes for the bubbles to burst when not charged, is larger against players, so luckily they can't just run right through it. Reduce the number of projectiles that appear at the same time, probably fine. I was going to say, I thought it was the same changes, no. So can be used in motion, but increase attack power, tracking, stamina attack against guarded enemies. So Bubble now already was pretty close to good, and now I'm curious where it's at. Like Oracle Bubbles was kind of shit. Like if you like, it could be the most FP efficient thing in the game, but it was just so mediocre, it just never hit. And now it's like potentially great. All it needed to do was hit, and great Oracle Bubble was like too slow and unsafe, and it just would not track. So this is great. I mean, it tracked for a while. The tracking was pretty crap. Great oracular bubble, whatever we're calling this thing. This was so close. This was on the edge, and I'm curious now, especially with this tracking change. Because if it's like a small little thing that follows you now, that follows really, really well, then it becomes like another variant of Rancor Call or whatever, you know? Slow, big, scary Rancor Call. Ghost Flame. Attack power, sound attack power, increased frostbite, which nobody would have ever noticed. Range of the residual flame has been slightly increased. Damage detection time has been reduced. So it hits more often, and it's either a larger area, or maybe there's less gaps that you walk between, or something. Ghost Flame was kind of close. They sped it up a good bit, so potentially great now. Potentially worth it. I would say probably still low. My guess is still low tier, but potentially good. Tibia Summons. Reduce FP consumption and increase attack power. Increase casting speed, reduce recovery. This one really depends on the tracking now. Like, how is this going to be? Is it going to hit? Otherwise, it's a PvE spell, but maybe it's a good one. Discus of Light was like the most efficient incantation. Damage for FP. So reduce FP and stamina consumption. Increase the range speed and duration of the halo. Increase casting speed. So now I think the Discus of Light might be a daily driver. Radigan's Rings, reduce FE consumption and recovery time. Both excellent. Both were kind of core problems that it had. So this will be another one that's like... I mean, Radigan's Rings was like already like very competitive with like Wrath of Gold, so it's much more solid than it already was. Frozen Lightning Spear, which misses so freaking often, but reduce FE consumption, which is nice, and then increase the Frostbite status buildup. I still, like, this never hits though, so I don't know how good it's going to be, but like if it hits, it's great. Flame of the Fell God. Reduce FP consumption, increase stamina, attack power against guarded enemies. I think everything is going to do more guard break. I think all spells are going to do that now. You can't just sit in front of a spellcaster with the fingerprint shield, just chill. Increase attack power when charged. I didn't even know you could charge that. This is the orb, right? This is the one that like slowly tracks and then explodes. The one that's basically lingering flame with a bit of movement. The oracle bubble for fire. I'm curious whether or not I would care to use it though. But like at least like everything together looks really good though. I mean, this needs to be... I need to evaluate this one. Like, it was so below what I would think to be viable, but if it hit, it did a lot of damage, so it's, like, potentially great. Whirl of Flame, reduced FP, increased stamina attack power, all this keeps coming up. Increased ability to stagger enemies, so you would think this is more poise, but I don't know what they mean by that then. Whirl of Flame, when it's charged, is great. It's just... yeah, it is expensive, so could potentially be really great. Burn No Flame, reduced FP. Yeah, it was too expensive. And it didn't generate enough pillars, so good. Potentially is right. It could potentially be where it needs to be now. This paled relative to like, Ancient Dragon, Lightning. Scouring Black Flame, so this is Flame Swath. Increased stamina attack power. Okay, so it was already okay. So Noble Presence, Guard Break, and better recovery. Beast Claw, longer Shockwave. I wonder if that applies to everything, because charged it was okay. Like, the charged version was alright. The uncharged one, though, kind of shit. This is funny, though. Garank's Beast Claw, I don't remember this being chargeable at all, and they added a hitbox when you go down. This is potentially scary. You're going to put your hand down and then hit with that, so you have a quick hit up close, and you have the big AoE at the end. And if you can charge it now, because I don't believe it was chargeable before. It already had nice looking numbers, it just never hit. Stone of Garank, lower stamina consumption, increased attack power, extended the impact area of projectiles, like a blast, like a bigger explosion when it lands. Yeah, I mean, Stone of Garank was really close. Like, this was already alright. Scarlet Aeonia, reduced FP consumption, increased attack power. Oh yeah, and poise damage, all this other stuff. Lightning attack range has been increased, so it can go further, and recovery time decreased, even further. Just as the poise increase. Oh, so you have even more, either more poise, or the poise is across a longer portion of the attack. So yeah, Scarlet Aeonia was getting there too, so this might push it where it needed to go. Frenzied Burst, increased poise damage, attack power when charged. So just don't make the Frenzy any better, it's already too strong. Howl has Extended the duration of the effect that increases attack power and lowers defense power. I keep forgetting this actually has a secondary effect. I'll have to look and see what I think about the numbers of it, but it's a good change, good direction. Inescapable Frenzy, reduce FP and stamina consumption, shorten recovery time, increase grapple range. So yeah, no, this is good. It wasn't used that often. You could make this into a one-shot, but it's like the conditions that you would need to make this one shot were really obnoxiously difficult, and you really had to build into it. Dragon Claw, reduce FP consumption, more directional control. So yeah, Dragon Claw was okay damage wise. It just was not. It was harder to hit. It was hard to hit with and cost too much. Dragon Ball is like about the same. Both like everything, almost everything is doing more against guarding enemies. So you can hit enemies closer to you more easily. Yeah, so both are just easier to hit with and cost less. Black Blade, which was I believe the Malekith's thing, right? Sword Wave at the same time, so it doesn't double hit. Attack power, stamina power, and poise damage of each part have been decreased. Oh, I guess you can hit with both, yeah. Oh, you know what? I was testing that. When we were testing that with the call, I think, you had to hit away in order to like hit with just one or the other, right? You had to like turn away and hit with clip with the side of it. Bestial Sling, reduce the randomness. Very nice. I like that. Because it definitely did not hit consistently. More stamina against guarding enemies. Everything's getting that. I should even mention it at this point. Reduced between 2 hits and adjusted the detections of 2 hits are always made at close range. I don't know what reduced between 2 hits means. Decreased poise damage. This thing was annoying for how otherwise good it was. So I mean, it was a very cheap, inexpensive spell to use that did decent damage, and just making it more consistent and more reasonable is fine. It didn't really need many changes, except for obviously against guarding enemies might be very nice. Reduce Scarlet Rot status effect buildup from Rotten Breath and Exeeks, whatever they're called. Needed it for PvP especially, but people were relying on that. I mean, all the Scarlet Rot spells were basically or really just the 2 breath spells. These were the equivalent of Dark Souls 2 Lighting Spirit release. Everyone was using it. It was always the fallback. I can't kill this thing, just rot it to death and walk away for a while. Okay, skills. Regal Beast Claw, I think, is the big hammer smash that does Garank's Beast Claw. So only the Master Star Nebula and not Wing of Estelle? So Pebble, after reducing the poise impact, it definitely could use some damage, but I'm hoping that they also buff the Glintstone Chris, because that weapon sucks right now. Surge of Faith, I can't even remember what this one was. These I don't even know what they are. I've spent so much time in like Faith-esque incantations, or not incantations, Faith-esque skills, that I don't even know. Not sure which is which. Oh, Goldbreaker is America's Hammer. No wonder, I never paid attention to that. Yeah, okay, that needed, that needed damage, so yeah. All this sounds good. I mean, Bastard Stars is really weak, so I really wish that, I kind of wish Wing of Estelle got some extra damage, but honestly, it doesn't need it. Everything else gets nerfed. If all the other problem stuff gets nerfed, then Wing of Estelle is automatically better anyways. Sword Dance, Valid the Indomitable. Isn't Valid the Indomitable the one that just gives you, it basically gives you temporary invulnerability, but just doesn't last very long? And AOK's Dancing Blade. Reduce the blade between the end of various actions, such as using items or attack animations. Oh, I saw somebody posting videos of this. So you can combo into this stuff and out of this stuff more often. This is very good. Sacred Order, Shared Order. I don't know what Shared Order is. Barricade Shield. So more effect time for all this stuff. I know. So Soul Cipher Ruler is the one where you can't. It's basically like Void's Talisman. Knowledge Above All is like has reduced magic negation, I think. Barricade Shield kind of needed extra. Considering they nerfed it, it definitely needed extra time. Taker's Flame was the burst from Rykard's sword. And Bekella's Ring of Light, obviously from that scythe thing. Hitting with a weapon part definitely makes sense. Prayerful Strike, increased attack power and poise damage. Prayerful Strike was already okay, especially because you heal, so super great now. Great Serpent Hunt's gonna be hilarious if we see this now in if we see that in PvP. Wild Strike's spinning strike shortens the time between various actions and the activation. Slightly increased attack power. That's good. Yeah, that's fine. Wild Strikes was okay. It wasn't amazing, but it was solid. Spinning Strikes was definitely was pretty weak. So both of these, super great. Getting those buffed. Those were good, but they just didn't stand out in any way. Ground Slam. So all the slams reduce the time between using the skill and being able to roll. Super great. So the recovery time basically. And increase attack power. They definitely needed it. Reduce the delay between the end of the various acts, so you can combo into it more often, more easily. Increase attack power. Yeah, they could use it. Reduce the timing between the end of the skill and performing actions other than the strong attack. So these are just more usable, and they do a bit more damage as well. Hailing Thrust. Increase the motion speed and attack power. Reduce the delay between the end of the attack of various actions. Okay, so yeah, you can combo into and out of these more often, more easily. I keep saying more often. You can combo into these and out of these more often, and they're faster and stronger. And Impaling Thrust is kind of weak, so yeah, definitely needed it. Piercing Fang. I think Impaling Thrust is the one that shield pierces and just does a lot of damage. I think Piercing Fang just goes straight through. I think that was the distinction. Piercing Fang ignores a shield entirely. Impaling Thrust hits it. Increase speed, attack power, and poise damage. Reduce the delay. Yeah, so these are just much more usable in every way. When using the following weapons, Greatsword, basically every big thing. Charge for increased directional control. Ooh, it tracks well now. Reduce the delay between the end of various actions. Oh, you can combo into this, and it tracks very well. This is good. Blood tax. So, Vari's weapon. I don't think you can use this as a skill with anything else, can you? Increase motion speed, attack power, so steals more HP, and you can combo into it. This is good. Normally I wouldn't have bothered. I wouldn't care about the weapon at all, but this is good. I like this. Pitting Thrust. Another one where basically you can combo into it more easily. They're making the game a lot smoother now. So Poise Damage, sure, and you can combo into it more easily. Poise Damage, and you can combo into it more easily. Poison Moth Flight. Oh, this is good. Yeah, poison, like a direct buff, just like a big buff for all the poison portions of this. Increase the duration and damage of the poison, so maybe they switch to the deadly poison? Okay, you can combo into it more easily. Stormcaller. Motion speed, attack power, and poise damage. Oh shit. Increase poise damage, and then increase poise damage. Skill size and poise damage. So Stormcaller is basically the weapon skill version of Thunderstorm, and I always felt it was kind of weak. But damn, okay. Both of these are going to be scary to get next to now. Sacred Blade. Yeah, you buff it and you shoot the projectile out in one motion, yeah. It's faster, longer range. The weapon swing portion actually does damage. Lasts longer. Yeah, this is all great. Bloody Slash. Increase status build-up and attack power. Scary. Reduce delay between the end of various actions. Yeah, so you can combo into it more easily. Bloody Slash was already scary, so this is... I'm a bit torn. This is already really good, but okay. You didn't see a lot of people using it, but it's strong. I think Bloody Slash was benefiting from Seppuku in some ways, so maybe that got changed. I don't know. I am worried about Bloody Slash, though. That's my only red flag so far. This is already strong. So lifesteal, faster, more damage, longer range against other players, and you can combo into it more easily. Eruption is the big hammer smash, I think, right? The big lava smash. Longer range, lava. Oh, yeah. When you slam down, it does damage. And, okay, yeah, so it wasn't giving you poise properly. Gravitas, more poise. No real complaint about that one. Stormblade. Stormblade is the projectile swings, right? You alternate your slashes and you shoot little wind things. Faster, longer range. If you hit up close, it does damage, and you can combo into it, so also good. Flaming Strike is scary. Flaming Strike was already, like, the poise on it was really strong. I can't remember if they nerfed that. I don't think they did. Like, Flaming Strike was, like, guaranteed you will get stunned into the second hit, so I'll have to review the earlier changes. So increase attack power, so it stays longer, so it's stronger and has fire for longer. Lightning Slash, basically the same thing. You can, two things. You can combo into it more easily, you can combo out of it more easily, and it stays lightning for longer, it's good. Vacuum Slice was crap, so making it faster is great. Cost less FP, also great. Vacuum Slice needed help. It was pretty shit. Sacred Ring of Light. So the projectile is faster, and if you hit with the weapon itself, it does damage. Blood Blade, which is basically the dagger skill, more or less the dagger projectiles. So more damage. If the weapon hits, it does damage, and you can combo into it. Like, this has been, like, this particular part, reduce the delay between the end of various actions, such and such, and being able to do the skill. This is so big. This is going to make the game so much more interesting and much faster and less stop and go pausey. Phantom Slash is really cool. I don't know if the damage is any decent, but now it's less obnoxiously shitty to hit with. Spectral Lance, more damage, and potentially longer effective range. This thing was great. Like, this just needed damage, and the range, obviously. Like, it would hit at long range. The fall off, I think, might have been what made it feel kind of crap sometimes. Faster Chilling Mist, and it lasts longer, cool. Faster Poisonous Mist, lasts longer, cool. Shield Bash, oh, that's good. Shield Bash against shields. Shield Bash is better against shields. I'll take it. And Chances thought the arrow was incredibly slow, so this is great. I'd hope that the draw speed's faster. Kick was decent already, but like, it was already like 350. So I don't know what the poise damage is going to be on this. But Kick was, it still needed help to stand out, so that's fine. Crag Blade was terrible before, so now it lasts longer, and it does more attack power, more poise damage, and more attack power against guard. So Crag Blade is back on the menu. I want to see how that is. War Cry lasts longer. You can combo into it, and strong attacks are stronger on probably every weapon it's compatible with, which is good. I mean, War Cry was okay. It just didn't stand up to everything else. Trolls were more attack power, and the poise is somehow better. Trolls War I saw people experimenting with, so I think it was on the edge. I didn't really mess with it too much myself. It was definitely one of those things that was like worth looking into. Braggart Roar. I thought Braggart Roar was just about like roughly the same as Trolls Roar or one of the other ones like Warcry. I don't remember exactly what the difference was. I'm not concerned about it. It's good to see it buffed. I don't think I've ever used it myself ever, even to test with. So yeah, Endure, Dyson's favorite. Endure lasts longer. Added an effect that prevents daggers caused by blood loss and frostbite. Oh shit. Okay. So you, well, that's funny. Punch through like freezing mist and shit. Reduce the time between skill activation and being able to perform actions other than attacking. You can combo out of Endure more easily. So you can use it to absorb a hit and then punch somebody even through like frostbite buildup and stuff. Holy Grounds. Heals quicker? Sure. Raptor of the Mists. Reduce FP consumption. Okay, so you can use this more often. Okay. Raptor was okay. I definitely, I think everything about it was potentially, fine. I wouldn't have wanted a buff, except for it just cost too much for what it was. Because otherwise it would be okay, well, instead of making it cheaper, you'd have to, make it buff your jump attack, your next jump attack or something like that. Jump attacks could be too strong as it was, especially if you just get a free one every time you hit somebody. Flame Spit? That's not the... Oh, that is the cannon. Oh, shit. Okay. It's the cannon. Improved projectile range, so the one-eye shield has longer range. Sure. So Tongues of Fire must have been the other one then. So reduced stamina consumption for the flamethrower shield. Great Oracular Bubble. So what weapon had this? Hold on. What weapon had it? It's the giant horn thing, right? Extended the amount of time that the large bubble stays in place. Tracking performance and the range of the bubble have been improved. Fine. I didn't see that used too much. The other one was strong though, the rapid bubble one from the smaller one. One of them was really, really strong against bosses. You just blow bubbles up, fire giant's ass or something. The Viper Bite, more attack power and poison status, and it's deadly poison I think now. Oh no, there was a bug fix that said that sometimes it wouldn't do deadly poison, so now it does even more. Willow Greatsword, less stamina. If the weapon hits you do damage, sure. This is never a worry at all. Transient Moonlight, on the other hand, was scary and probably has gotten nerfed now. Slurry Woe. Increased motion speed, attack power, and poise during activation. Damage detection of the weapon part. Projectile now penetrates enemies and some objects when charged. Oh, that's got to be that's the tree spear thing. Reduvia's Bloodblade. Why does it have increased attack power? The status effect buildup was fine. I mean, okay, whatever. And then another damage detection bit. Okay. Glintstone Dart. Oh, here we go. This is the Chris. Increase range, speed, attack power of magic attacks. Magic attacks now penetrate enemies when not charged. Ooh, interesting. Okay, the Chris becomes a lot more interesting now. The Chris is I'm curious about this. Glintstone Chris is now on my radar again because this thing was so shit before. So Night and Flame attack power comes back. It can aim up and down, which is good. And I guess when you thrust the weapon out or you do your swipe, it does more. That's good. Yeah, I like this. I was going to say for a second, I thought maybe they increased the attack power of the Sword of Night and Flame and not just the stance, but I think the weapons too, the R1s on that are way too weak. Because right now, the R1s are 3 different damage types, and that's just shit. The regular attacks on that weapon are terrible. But hey, if the skill is good, then sure, why not? So Ruinous Ghost Flame, which was... Oh, this is the Steeple. Is Steeple a Colossal Sword? It's still a great sword. Okay, I'd never use this weapon ever. Okay, so increase the duration, attack power, and poise damage of the effect that gives the weapon a magic attribute. So the swing itself is supposed to be doing damage, and it doesn't. So yeah, so Ghost Flame, I guess always hit, and I just never noticed. And you can combo into and out of it more easily, so that's good. What was Spear Call? Oh, is Spear Call the one? Is Spear Call the one that's similar to the thing from Dark Souls 3's Ring City DLC, where you're the player boss, where you get the spears that come out, they take a while and they come out of the ground? I think that's the one. So more damage, and it hits more frequently. So Wolf's Assault, I think, is the spinning slam that Blade gets with the regal whatever sword. Thunderclad form, you can control it more. Thunderclad was fine. More control over it's fine. Regal Roar, what was that? Oh no, that's the Horaloo axe thing. Or the whatever, the Godfrey axe. Longer duration, you can combo into it and end up it more easily. Blade of Death, increases attack duration, and that reduces maximum HP. So that was on the Black Knife, right? Death and Death, this is Malekith's weapon. Increase the speed. Oh, the max HP reduction lasts longer. The Alabaster and Onyx Lords, both of their effects are... Oh, interesting. No, the pole has more attack power, and both of them have more poise. The Onyx Lord has just repels better or longer or something. What was Oath of Vengeance? Oh, this is the buff from the Sword of Thrones. Lasts longer And it prevents daggers caused by blood loss and frostbite. Okay, they're trying to push that now. I've seen it used. I've seen the weapon used a bit. I don't know how good the skill is, but like the description for the skill sounds very promising. I'm not an ultra greatsword character. I don't like using them. Ice lightning sword. I think this is the katana. This is like the dragon scale blade or whatever it was. So more attack power. The buff is overall better, and you can combo into it. Okay. Is claw flick the random finger thing? Yeah, the ringed finger. Okay. Yeah, more attack power, and it does more poise damage as it pops out. Okay. Tempering is the dual swords, as far as I remember. This is the tutorial boss sword, right? The pair that you get. Added a timing for interrupting the attack during a series of strong attacks while under the effect. Increase strong attack motion speed. Unfortunately, I didn't really use this. I think I've seen one person use this ever. Getting a buff is fine if nobody's using it, I guess. Okay, yeah, the holy buff lasts longer, and you can combo out of it. What was last rites? Oh, this is the golden epitaph thing. This is the buff. This is the better version of is this the one that's golden val basically? So lasts longer, does more damage, and is better against undead. Sure, it's fine. Sacred Order, not golden val. Wasn't Unblockable Blade mentioned earlier? Oh no. This is the one for the cipher peta, or no, whatever the other one was. The coded sword. Yeah. So this is less FP and quicker. Loretta slash from the sickle. Stronger again and more poise damage. Cool. I don't think I see anybody using this ever. Corpse wax cutter though, is that from like one is like the axe. This is from the gargoyle black blade. Okay. So cheaper, faster, and the weapon swing itself does damage. Okay. Zamor Ice Storm absolutely needed more damage. The funny thing is I think the skill speed wise was almost where the spell needed to be, so maybe they're closer to parity now. So Dynas Finesse, it's more controllable. I felt like this it didn't do a lot of damage, but the dodge was so strong that I don't know if I want it to be any stronger. Like relative to R1s, like relative to other skills, it wasn't really that great. But if other skills have been toned down a lot, then this is probably great now. Which one was Death Flare? Was that the strength dent sword? Oh no! This is the Eclipse Shuttle. Increased duration and attack power. The effect that grants it a holy attribute. It is holy. Doesn't that this is the one that also gives you Death Blight as the attribute, right? Oh yeah, I guess it is holy. I mean that's good. I mean the the Death Blight would quickly become crap as you level up, anyways, as everyone gets higher resist to it. So sure, those were like the only thing they were really great for was the death effect. So more damage is good. Magma Guillotine. Oh, one of the weapons nobody ever uses, the Magma Worm Scale Sword. Poise damage, stamina, attack power. Yeah, okay. That's fine. Corpse Piler, slightly increased attack power. To be fair, if they're nerfing all skills across the board and they're doing that pre-defense, then Corpse Piler needs a buff for attack power, not for the bleed buildup. If they're basically doing like a global reduction of all skill scaling and the resulting damage, then Corpse Piler was like on the lower end. So like I know it might be weird, like, oh, Rivers is getting buffed again. It's like technically the global change potentially could be so strong that it needs to be brought up because of the way it works. It's like you're doing very low damage MVs multiple times with something that doesn't do a lot of damage anyways. This does not scare me. This basically says somebody who knows what they're doing is making these changes, even at the potential scare of being yelled at by community members. Blood Blade Dance. Damage detection immediately after activating the skill. Which one was this? It's funny, like there's so much shit to oh, this is the Pole Blade, right? Pole Blade was like, if you got hit by it, it could be scary. Having it does its damage sooner. I think if there's a global reduction to scaling for all skills, for most skills, then this is fine. It just makes it more reliable. Devourer of Worlds. How am I forgetting so many skills? I never use this shit. Oh, this is Bernal's Hammer. So just more poise damage. Okay, sure. I would have never even noticed one way or another. I bet it was pretty low. Familial rancor. Increase damage to the vengeful spirits. So yeah, that's the secret side boss in the one cave. I don't remember that ever being super scary, so that's fine. Rose's summons, increased motion speed, super great. Probably needs more. Thunderstorm is interesting. They sped up Thunderstorm. They buffed the buff, so the lightning from Thunderstorm now lasts longer, does more damage. For higher levels, it's really great. For lower levels, I'm worried about this thing. I know there's global nerfs to skills, so maybe it's fine. But this could make my item thrower build even stronger. I mean, it definitely needs it in most of the PvP in the game. So Unblockable Blade for some other this is like 2 entries now. This is like, okay, so one's the Cipher Pata and the other one's the Cipher the Codex Sword. They don't specify which. So both of them are just stronger. You can combo out of it. Ordovis's Vortex. So more damage, moves faster, higher poise. You have more poise when you're using it, and you can combo into it. Okay, that's pretty legit. All right, Barbaric Core. Let's see. Oh, that's funny. Reduce strong attack when used with twin blade weapons. I wonder if that could have been set up in such a way as to affect the Blood Twin Blade, the one I already forgot the name of, even after looking at it 2 seconds ago. So, okay, so it lasts longer, you can combo more easily out of it, and so claw and fist weapons are stronger. So that's pretty legit. Shield Crash, so status effect has been reduced, and that was a popular build, doing whatever the name of the spike door shield was. That one, making that one bleed, you could just walk up to people and just bleed them out real easy. Seppuku, increase damage taken upon activation and reduce the bleed status buildup granted to weapons. Really seriously needed, so that's excellent. Blood Boon Ritual, which I believe was the Trident. Reduce the range of the damage animation trigger on other players. Okay, so the radius is shorter. It's scary as a skill. It's just easier to not get completely cornered and do it. We're almost done. Added process to remove Ash of War from weapons that normally can't be combined with certain Ashes of War. Prevented users from obtaining items such as Great Ruins, Crystal Tears, this and that. I guess that would have been really rare. Fix so you can get Crystal Tears more easily. Just gotta go there. Oh, here's a bunch of stuff. It's a bunch of stuff that I'm interested in because these are all the feel-good things. These are the game feel ones. So, adjust the player character control when under certain damage animations. Prevented charging some incantations while casting them with left-handed Sacred Seal in mid-air, which is a very specific change. Performing a normal attack from a dash immediately after landing from a jump when the weapon is two-handed. Like, these are very specific things. These are like these are kind of along the line of what like Zuli and whatnot were pointing out, or maybe it was Illusory Wall. Like all the people who were sitting there with the model view were going, "Why is this all messed up?" Or maybe Amir. I don't know. All the like model viewer data mining crowd were looking at all sorts of weird things like this. Like, oh, why can't you, like, if you double jump with a greatsword in some scenario, like you can't always double jump under certain circumstances when you're on torrent and weird shit like that. Prevented performing a normal attack from a dash immediately after landing from a jump when the weapon's two-handed. Various action inputs were ignored when changing weapons while moving. Oh, that's a big one. In fact, I think that was preventing me from healing and stuff sometimes. Like when because what would happen, I think what was happening is I would always keep my staff out, but the seal wasn't always out, and I would swap and then hit the button and it would do nothing. And I got that so often. Correct the description of the Colossal Sword's physical attack attribute. Timing the change attack direction was narrower than expected for some attacks with the Great Axe. That's great. Attack direction could not be changed when performing a charge attack with the Rune's Greatsword. Oh shit, okay, that'll be interesting to see. Get that sudden snap like all the other weapons had. Fixed the bug with the Highland Axe's effect was not applied to Shriek of Milos. Oh, is that the one that gives you all of the, oh yeah, because all the roars were buffed with that, except for stuff like that, yeah. That was one of the setups that I was trying to use as well. I was trying to use that with Beast Roar, I think. Warrior Dart and the Shard of Alexander were not applied to Sorcery of the Crozier. Roar Medallion was not applied to Regal Roar. Viper Bite. Yeah, Viper Bite can inflict poison instead of deadly poison. Oh, this is the bug for Rock Sling, yeah. So projectiles for Rock Sling would go way the fuck out there. Recovery time after casting Beast Claw could not be shortened by magic or incantations. Oh, are you supposed to be able to cancel out of that more easily? I guess that explains why it felt so shit. Attacking an enemy who cannot be grabbed by Inescapable Frenzy, it will be repelled if the enemy is holding a shield. Fix the bug where HP or FP can be recovered when changing equipment. Let's go. We got the helm swap fixed. That's a big one. That'll help for PvP. Fix a bug that could cause death and result in the player becoming stuck in some locations. Sure, probably that one. There's a catacomb that has that issue, I think. Fix some terrain bugs that allowed users to reach unexpected locations with certain procedures. Please, please, please fix all the AFK farming shit. It might, or it's more likely, I guess. Who knows, right? Fix the bug where the rendering collision detection some maps were different than expected. Sure. Fix the bug where bolts from the hand ballista weapon missed the lock-on target when the game was running at a frame rate below a certain level. Fix the bug that could prevent online multiplayer from working properly on PS4 and PS5. The performance, this miscellaneous performance thing. Somebody was saying, a few people actually have said the game seems to load faster. Like the PC version seems to like EAC loads faster and then goes away and the game loads. Please tell me they fixed the connection problems or they've reduced the stuttering or something. But I was willing to play the game even with those in place before. And these patches were pretty, but these notes are great. But look at how, like, it took me like 2 hours to read through this shit. Look at all these fucking changes, man. Especially the PvP specific stuff is so good.